There's fast, then there's Stewart fast. James Bubba Stewart forced every rider on the gate to rethink what was physically possible on a dirt bike and left a wake so violent that 15 years later, pros are still chasing the lines he drew. He was the first black athlete to dominate American motocross. He was the youngest AMA champion ever crowned, and he rode like physics was optional, but the numbers don't tell the story. The story is how he did it. Stewart grew up in Haines City, Florida, learning throttle control on a Pee Wee 50 before most kids could tie their shoes. His father, James Sr., who was an architect, built a program around one idea: outwork everyone. While other kids were at birthday parties, Bubba was on the track. While other families took vacations, the Stewarts built jumps in the backyard and ran drill after drill after drill. James Sr. did not have factory money. He did not have connections. What he had was vision, discipline, and a son with otherworldly talent. Together, they turned a rural Florida property into a testing ground for what would become the most explosive rider the sport had ever seen. 16 years old, 125cc East Supercross debut at Daytona. Stewart lines up against established pros, guys who'd been racing stadium dirt for years. Bubba hole shots, leads, gets shuffled back but fights through the pack and finishes third. The moto world blinks. A month later, he wins. Another month, another win. By 2004, Stewart's a factory Kawasaki rider. He wins the 125 East Supercross title, dominates the outdoor nationals, then steps up to the 450 class in 2005, and that's where the legend detonates. Because the 450 class isn't the 125s. It's heavier bikes, harder hits, older, stronger riders who've spent years learning racecraft. The 450 class is where careers are made and where hype dies. Stewart won his first 450 Supercross race, then his second. 2007 Supercross, 13 wins in 16 rounds. A masterclass so dominant that Ricky Carmichael, the man who'd won everything there was to win, had already retired rather than face another season of it. RC saw the future coming and got out while he was still on top. Then came 2008 Outdoors, the perfect season. 24-0. Every moto, every track, every condition. Mud, hardpack, sand, ruts, brutal heat, torrential rain. No one had ever done that. No one's done it since. Bubba wasn't riding the same race as everyone else. He was riding a different dimension. Here's what made Stewart untouchable: the scrub. Before Stewart, riders jumped high, stayed level, and landed heavy. Jumping was a necessary evil. You cleared the obstacle, absorbed the landing, lost time in the air, and got back on the gas. That was the standard. That was physics. Stewart said, "Screw physics." He turned jumps into launch pads, whipping the bike sideways midair, killing lift, staying low, skimming inches above the landing, carrying more speed into the next section. It wasn't just style. It wasn't showboating. It was time. Fractions of a second per jump. Over a 20-lap main event, that's bike lengths. Over a 17-round season, that's titles. The scrub changed motocross forever. Before Stewart, it was a fringe technique, something Chad Reed dabbled with, something freestylers did for photos. After Stewart, it became mandatory. Now every kid at the local track tries it. Every pro has to master it. Bike setup changed. Suspension tuning changed. Jump design changed. That move, his move, is written into the DNA of modern moto. You can't watch a single lap of Supercross or motocross without seeing riders scrub, and every single one of them learned it from Bubba. The lines. Stewart saw the track differently. Where others braked, he pinned it. Where others jumped, he scrubbed. Where others played it safe, he sent blind doubles at race pace like they were tabletops. His risk tolerance was terrifying. His execution was flawless. He'd find lines in practice that didn't exist. Cutty inside ruts, off-camber entries, alternative rhythms through whoops. And by the main event, those lines were his. And the speed, God, the speed. Stewart's lap times weren't just fast, they were unreasonable. He'd gap the field by 5, 10, 15 seconds in a single moto. Riders would chase him until their bikes overheated, their arms pumped out, their focus crumbled under the realization that they were giving 100% and still losing ground. Bubba would cross the finish line, pull off, and look fresh, like he'd been on a parade lap. That's dominance. That's legend. But legends aren't built on dominance alone. They're built on what happens when the dominance breaks. Injuries, crashes, suspensions. Stewart's career was punctuated by adversity that would have ended most riders. Broken bones, concussions, a devastating wrist injury in 2011 that required surgery and cost him a legitimate title shot. A controversial suspension in 2014 for a positive drug test, later revealed to be Adderall, prescribed for ADHD, that kept him off the bike for 16 months and tarnished his reputation in ways that had nothing to do with talent. Every time he went down, the sport wondered if he'd come back the same. Every time he got sidelined, the whispers started. Maybe he's done. Maybe the speed's gone. Maybe the fire's out. Every time, he proved them wrong. 2009. Crashes hard at Indianapolis Supercross, dislocates his shoulder, battles through pain for the rest of the season, and wins the title anyway. That championship wasn't pretty. It was gritty. It was Stewart riding hurt, grinding through adversity, proving that he could win even when he wasn't at 100%. 2013, returns from injury, goes head-to-head with Ryan Villopoto in one of the most brutal, intense title fights in Supercross history. Stewart's riding at an insane level, scrubbing, hole-shotting, battling Villopoto bar-to-bar in races that feel like cage matches. He doesn't win the title. Villopoto edges him out. But that season reminded everyone why Stewart's name still commanded respect, still sold tickets, still made riders nervous on the starting gate. The comebacks added weight to the legend, because it wasn't just talent, it was will. It was refusing to let injury, bad luck, or controversy define him. It was getting back on the bike every single time and reminding the world, I'm still Bubba Stewart. I'm still the fastest man alive. Stewart's greatness was amplified by the riders he went to war with. Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT, the two-stroke legend turned four-stroke destroyer. Their 2006 outdoor battles were brutal. RC was the old guard, the dominant champion trying to hold off the young lion. Stewart was the future, hungry and relentless. Carmichael won that season. Then he retired. Some say he left because he knew Stewart was coming for everything. Chad Reed, the Australian warrior. Reed and Stewart had one of the most intense personal rivalries in moto history. They crashed into each other. They talked trash in the press. They pushed each other to the edge of control. Reed was tough, smart, and fearless, but even he couldn't match Stewart's raw speed. Ryan Villopoto, the grinder. Villopoto was the anti-Stewart. No flash, no style, just relentless, mistake-free consistency. Their 2013 battle was the clash of philosophies. Stewart was speed and aggression. Villopoto was precision and endurance. RV won the title, but Stewart won the hearts. Because watching Bubba ride, even in defeat, was watching art. Every rivalry elevated the sport. Every battle brought fans to their feet. And every time Stewart lined up, the question was the same. Can anyone stop him? Most of the time, the answer was no. Stewart retired in 2019, 48 AMA wins, 2 Supercross championships, 1 perfect outdoor season, and a style so influential that you can't watch a single lap of modern moto without seeing his fingerprints on it. Ask Ryan Dungey, ask Eli Tomac, ask Jet Lawrence, ask Hayden Deegan. They all borrowed from Stewart, and none of them ride like Stewart, because Bubba wasn't just fast, he was inevitable. When he was on, you weren't racing for first, you were racing for second and hoping he made a mistake. He created a standard of speed that forced an entire generation to level up or get left behind. He didn't just redefine what was possible on a dirt bike, he redefined what dominance looked like, what style meant, what it took to be legendary. He showed kids, especially black kids, that they belonged in this sport, that they could win, that they could be the fastest on earth. And every rider who scrubs a jump, sends a blind triple, hunts the hole shot, or believes they can gap a field, whether they know it or not, they're riding in his shadow. That's the legacy. That's Bubba. That's forever. Stewart didn't start at the top. He climbed through every level, from backyard tracks in Florida to perfect seasons and Hall of Fame dominance. Want to know where you fit in that climb? Click next to watch. The 7 levels of motocross rider explained in detail. From weekend warrior to factory podium, we break down exactly what separates each stage and what it takes to move up. Bubba mastered all 7. Time to see where you stand.